DC Comics version of the X-Force. Now, this video has been ready to go for quite some time, but I had to put it on the back burner because I wanted to focus on making the Thunderbolts video first. Now that that's done, going into the X-Force, this is one of the last kind of bigger teams in the Marvel universe that I've wanted to take and give a DC roster to it. They're a Black Ops rogue operational group that, once again, we've had many of these types of teams in DC Comics before, but I don't care. I'm making a video about this, and it seems like a lot of you like these types of videos. The X-Force is obviously mutant dominated. I did make an X-Men version for a DC team where obviously I can't use mutants, got to use characters similar or characters that feel like they would be part of the X-Men. Except we can look at many different characters since this is a stealth Black Ops team. There's more option, more variation. So starting off with Team 1, I have Deathstroke, Lady Shiva, Katana, Bronze Tiger, Cheshire, and Black Spider. There's probably a world where this exact lineup is a Suicide Squad team. However, the difference with the X-Force is they're not getting bombs put into their brain ready to explode if they don't follow orders. I feel as if this would be a team that is specifically hired by a rogue government movement of sorts that doesn't require the threat of death on your field agents if they don't do things the way you like it. These are extremely efficient and experienced operators who have been in these types of situations before and would probably know how to maneuver an X-Force type team. Deathstroke is your premier mercenary. He's got the super soldier enhancements. He's a brilliant strategist. He's basically going to be your Cable equivalent here, where he's going to be the leader of this team. Whereas everyone on this team are great fighters, nobody is going to be able to rival and or match Lady Shiva. Unparalleled martial arts skills, experience operating in the shadows. She's super quick and lethal in her movements, and she basically thrives in high-risk Black Ops type missions. For Katana, she might ground the team ethically, but when she's part of the team, she knows exactly what her job is to do. They are a Black Ops team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They're sent in to do a mission, and that's what they must do. With that still comes how lethal and ruthless she can be. I don't know if this is the greatest comparison, but for some reason, something reminds me of a Psylocke comparison here. Maybe I'm wrong, let me know. But she's also bringing along her Soul Snatcher sword, which you really just can't pass up that ability. When you look at Bronze Tiger, he's also bringing in martial arts mastery with a little bit of a conscience, which could add more internal tension within this group. Maybe Bronze Tiger would be the fall of this squad in which they no longer operate the way they were meant to be, or Bronze Tiger would fall in line and do what needs to be done. Cheshire, she's a poison expert and assassin, and she also adds unpredictability and flair, especially if you are utilizing them as this secret agent Black Ops group, sending them into missions where sometimes you need to be stealthy, sneaky, and a group of liars. She knows the art of seduction really, really well, and she would be able to utilize that to her advantage. She's an attractive woman, and she knows exactly how to use it. Now for Black Spider, he is your answer to a vigilante assassin. Now, I was going to go with Deadshot at first, but I wanted to remove him from the equation. He is specifically Suicide Squad. Why not use a character that doesn't get used as much? If the goal is to get in and get out, assassination needed, a lot of these characters can do it, but Black Spider's probably your guy. He's also going to be useful in any type of infiltration. On average, the X-Force are a morally ambiguous set of characters who are willing to do the wrong thing to accomplish the right thing, the right goal. The ends justify the means, basically. And whereas a huge majority of this team tend to be bad or maybe even on neutral terms, they will absolutely have no problem doing the wrong thing almost 24/7. They don't really care if the right thing is achieved from doing these wrong things. At the end of the day, as long as they're getting paid, they'll do their job well. Now for Team 2. I have Red Hood, Midnighter, Orphan, Ravager, Black Alice, and Nemesis. And to be clear about the Nemesis we're looking at, it's Thomas Tresser, the US operative and master of disguise. I think these are a group of characters that have all come together or were maybe hired all by one organization to be a Black Ops group, in which many of these characters have experience doing the wrong thing for the right outcome, but most of them understand their capabilities and know where they're at in their life. They know the decisions they've made. They know that they are not as morally righteous as other people around them, but because of that, let's use the expertise we have so we can make the choices and the decisions, the hard ones, that some of these other heroes and people won't have to do. Let's avoid them getting their hands dirty. Our hands are already dirty. Let's just make sure we do good with it this time around. So with Red Hood, he's strategic, a morally gray leader from Batman's training and Punisher type methods. I think he is the perfect character to lead this team with a firm grasp. Then you look at Midnighter, a brilliant tactician with kind of a brutal edge to him. He is absolutely not afraid to do the wrong thing because there are many times where he doesn't even believe what he is doing is wrong. He has reasons for all his actions. I don't think his conscience will be bothered as easily as other characters. Then I decided to go with Cassandra Cain as Orphan instead of Batgirl, since it makes it feel much more like a Black Ops rogue operation team. She brings in the expertise of stealth and combat. Once again, just like in Team 1, her mother, there's probably no one on this team who's going to rival her in martial arts combat. She's the best person they got there. Taking Ravager, you're also bringing in a similarity from Team 1 where you're bringing in the bloodline and the aggressiveness of Deathstroke, but Ravager herself being a little more ethical. You're bringing in a character who does truly want to do the right thing more than her father would. Also having training from Deathstroke and even Nightwing, that benefits her even further. With Black Alice, I wanted to add a little bit of magical flair and a more darker, edgier appearance of magic on this team. She can steal magical powers from others, she's unpredictable and dangerous, and she's the perfect variation of a wild card that this team would need. Whereas she would probably be taking part in every mission they'd have, she's definitely the backup plan. I would view her as a character of if all things don't end up panning out the way they want it to. If stealth and secrecy don't work, plan B is to sick Alice on the situation and have her use her untapped magical potential. And then when we look at Nemesis, Thomas Tresser, he is, as I said, the master of disguise, espionage, infiltration. When I thought of him, he was in ways an answer to Mystique, where he can utilize different forms and faces. Now, it's not going to be as efficient as it is with Mystique, but the guy is ever so clearly talented and could pass for many different people because of his skill, and it would probably prove to be very fruitful for a team like this. I think Team 2 has a bunch of great connections and potential with a lot of the characters on the team, and it also brings in a vibe of your regular superhero teams along with being connected to governmental sources. I also feel that this is a team that really would not be well known about, and there would only be a very few couple outside of the organization who knows this team is truly active. Now, very quickly, before we get into this next team here, let's take a look at today's sponsor. All right, guys, just before we get into the rest of the video, I want to quickly look at our sponsor for the day, which is Manta Sleep. When going to bed, I've never been one to actually wear sleeping masks, and this was an absolute game changer for me. It is by far one of the best sleeping masks you can find on the market today, and it adds a ton of features depending on the one that you particularly buy. The most important feature, however, at least for myself, is the complete blackout sleep that it offers you. If you have any windows in your room that allows for a lot of sunlight, these masks will completely block it out and allow you to sleep uninterrupted. My particular sleeping mask is one that has Bluetooth speakers, but I mean, if you really want to, you can just take it off and now it's a regular sleeping mask. And if that's not something that interests you, don't even worry about it. Just take a look at their vast catalog on their website and you'll see all the different variations of sleeping masks you can buy for yourself, or maybe even someone who needs it. So in the description below, head to the link that will bring you to the Manta Sleep website, and in the discount code of any purchase, input T.M.M for a 10% off and 100% guarantee yourself a darkened sleep. For Team 3, this is more or less all magical users, and the reason why I wanted to go in this direction, sometimes I feel like the magical world is the closest thing that DC has to the X-Men other than Doom Patrol. It's just the characteristics of some of these characters and even their appearances that I think would make them a good fit as mutants in Marvel. So here's who I got. Azrael, Raven, Deadman, Etrigan, Constantine, and Enchantress. Now, this team is stupidly powerful. They got a lot going for them here, but their leader, ironically, would be the human with more or less no abilities. It would be Azrael. He's your leader, enforcer, holy executioner, and I think you could do a play here where he's maybe being left a message by the Lord to lead these other 5 characters into the light, make them work with him to defeat the Lord's enemies. This would be an Azrael who is more hero than anything, but he is still being guided spiritually, which within magic, you do have a lot of that spiritual talk, and I think that fits oddly well. With Raven, I know she is one of the most powerful DC characters out there, but I don't believe you need to use her that way. Her soul abilities, her empath powers, they can be perfect for stealth and recon and maybe even some crowd control. And when you look at Deadman, he's the same situation, being used in stealth situations. However, he can take over bodies to maybe spy or use them to fight. He's got a magical expertise that I don't think you can push to the side. With Etrigan, I thought of this demon magical muscle with a lot of magical power, rhyming speech, and a very dark presence that will probably fit a magical X-Force team growing already with dark presences. With Constantine, not only are you bringing in extreme power, but you are also bringing in complete manipulation. He's one who is willing to use somewhat dirty tactics and will absolutely bend the rules to achieve what he needs to achieve. From a certain point of view, that might be a problem for Azrael. How would they figure that out? Well, once again, I think that brings in some very unique tension to the team. Finally, with Enchantress, this is just a magical nuke walking with insane potential. She is a perfect fit for the team who is walking a very fine line. What I think you could do with her in this situation, she is a character that is potentially being taught on how to use her powers more or less for the betterment of justice in what Azrael views as being important to this team. But she's also someone who used to be a villain, and it's now walking another fine line of taking an ex-villain, pushing her to her tip-top power potential, while all at the same time not trying to push her too far to the point where she turns on the team and becomes the villain herself that they need to fight. She's a ticking time bomb that if you don't take care of her properly, she could be the problem. Whereas this team, I do believe it is extremely powerful, might be overpowered to be honest. Visually and maybe even personality wise, it does feel like the closest thing we could get to a mutants version in the DC universe. But there you have it, everyone. Marvel's X-Force in the DC universe. I think there's a ton of variations that this team could have. You could even go down the rabbit hole and just take a bunch of C and D class characters, but I wanted to mix it up by using mercenary characters, magician, well-known characters, lesser-known characters. Makes it more fun that way. So you guys let me know in the comments below what you thought of the teams that I made and what your X-Force team would look like in DC Comics. Also, let me know some other teams that you'd like to see me take DC characters, putting them into a Marvel team, or vice versa this time, Marvel characters into a DC team. That is all I have for you on this video, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it, and until the next time, I will talk to you all very soon.